Hey everybody, this is Wise Exotics. I'm going to do the November end a little early because I'm not so sure I'll be able to do it during my Thanksgiving week. That's going to be pretty busy for me. So I'm going to do it a little early. So we're going to do a little tour of the plants in the glass room. Say hello to the bird polo and hummer. These are African grays. There are other lovebirds in here and a parakeet. There is a jungle carpet python and one of my cats you can see. There is also a bearded dragon, and a couple of these plants are up here. This is a western hognose. They're coming out because the sun's starting to come out right now, so it's nice. And yes, there is a TV here for the birds. They do like to watch TV, specifically Monk. I'm not too sure why. Going on to a different subject, we'll do kind of a walkthrough. This is my Lowland tank. Plants are doing fine. I'm a little happy because my Nepenthes, which I've been having a lot of problems with, and it stagnated for about half the year, finally popped its leaf and is giving me a new picture, it looks like, on that one, so I'm excited to see that. I did bring some more plants in, including my sun pitcher is in here now. They like high humidity anyway, bright light, so I thought, what the heck. Cephalotus is fine. This Nepenthes, which I had given to my mother as a gift, is a Tolegenus sibilensis. She got it pretty big, and then it started to deteriorate, and I, for the life of me, really don't know what caused this. The growth tip looks fine. It looks like it's popping a new, smaller leaf. I'm not too sure what's going on with it, but it had pictured for the first time. It had one that was about half the size of this, and it looked great. So this is a Nepenthes Queen Malini from Carnivero. Malini. I keep the little tag in there so I can know what it is. Excuse me, I've got like a cough going on today. Let's see. As you know, see that leaf is a little scorched. That's what happens if you do not mix the hydrogen peroxide enough with water. And I thought I did on a smaller squirt bottle, which is the yellow tipped one right there. Didn't work out too well. I didn't mix it enough. It seems on a couple of plants, and I scorched just a few leaves, but it's enough that it upsets me because I was mad I hurt my plants, and I'm very, not trying to hurt my plants, and I really do love just collecting and growing these. These are really fun to grow, and they're kind of a unique plant setup. I've been letting this one air out for a good part of the morning because it got a little too humid in there. So this is made from acrylic. It bends around the corner. I just measured the inside gap here to here, and I got the length to taper over. This was actually made for the front of a fish tank. We called it the splash zone because we had a fish who liked to pretend it was Shamu. And magically, I could throw it up here on this tank and it fit perfectly. So it was kind of like, wow, that worked. Didn't expect it to. Cool. I thought it would actually be over the edge here, but it's always been fine. There is a reflective piece behind it. I've been using it, and it hasn't hurt or really noticeably helped. The plants did grow a little faster, so possibly. Excuse me. So, let's see. That's a watering can. Plants are doing fine. No noticeable issues or problems yet. Bring them indoors. Highlands, you really like to get night drops, and this side of the room actually does get it, so more so. So this gets into the lower 50s. This side, lower 60s, so it's perfect for these. These Highlands, I am a little worried about, but no noticeable issues since these are my larger and more developed ones. I don't have a problem with it. If you've noticed, I do have a new plant. This was a freebie. It is a Glendiflora. If I say that right, yay. If not, I'm sorry. Glendiflora is a species that is known for these little black glands that you'll notice all over the stem and even picture. Under UV light, these look like neon little spots, so it's kind of cool. I put these up here because I moved my bearded dragon around, and I have this giant spotlight of a sun thing up here that shines on him all day, and I wanted to give him a little bit of a shade, so it's a natural shade, jungle effect. Works for him, I guess. This is still one of my favorites. It's a Spectabilis Veitchii. BE 6'4". It is one of my first larger plants that grew really rapidly because I got it to from about here on, as you can see, and it just kind of exploded. So I'm really happy with that. Moving along, we'll get to the Highlands here, or the major Highlands. I call this the major because these are a little more sensitive to some that, from what I come to understand, are rare, such as Veitchii batabuli, and a couple of these KM1. I don't know all the specifics. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I just know I've had people tell me, don't let that one die, type of thing. And I'm like, okay. I know for a fact certain Nepenthes are harder to come by, either due to they're not too easy to cultivate, or just not too many people like them, or they're very difficult to grow. So those are kind of your categories to go with. I know my peltata here has had plenty of growth tips. That's from Josh's carnivorous plant. Josh, if you see this, it's doing really well. I haven't killed it. So, yeah. My Hamada Aristo there, basil is doing just fine. This is a Raja peltata, not Leviathan. This is the BE variant. It's BE4510 if you really need to know what one that is. My Clipiata crosses and my pure Clipiata, which is right there, is doing just fine. Had a nice, clean, big leaf. I'm really happy to see that. Let's see, going down here. This is a Diabolica cross minima. I've shown it already, kind of a little blip. I really love it because it's got, number one, these bright ruby red pictures that are almost translucent. They are semi-translucent, so up in the light they're almost like a red ruby glowing. I think that's really neat. The leaves start out kind of green-red intermixed, and then they go to this red, kind of like the peltata, but not, as you can see. Just a comparison, the peltata is the only other red one over there. Let's see, my Nepenthes northiana has a new picture already. That one is known to be a little sensitive as a species, so it's already got a growth tip inside, so I think I'm doing okay. My Diotis, both of them are doing fine. This is my more sensitive Nepenthes, or rare, or whatever you want to call them. In here is one of our newest ones. So this is my new, I say our as in terms of the channel, not anyone else, to be specific. So this is a Velosa cross Hamada, specifically BE4099. I really looked for it, and I was lucky enough to get it at a really good deal, so I'm really happy. The Glandiflora came with it as a bonus because the guy had, like, as he said, I am overstocked on Glandiflora. Take one. It's free. Happy Thanksgiving. So it was kind of like, cool. Free Glandiflora. Going down the line here, this is a way too complex hybrid for me to recall. That's it. It's just a very large, complex one. I have two of those. They're both grown from that small size. Going down here, Robicantley, as you can see, has already got its first kind of moderate growth leaf. I'm really excited to see that. Don't mind me, I'm moving a dome. And I dropped it. Okay, so this is BE 3975. I bought it for $90 or whatever. You can literally see it. Yes, a Hamada for 90. I think I did pretty good there. This BE variant is the Tambusi. I'm just trying to sound it out. Gungan Tambusi, Gungan Lumet. So this is the AW4 male. I'm not so sure why the grass has gone a little crazy. I'm gonna need to get in here with some clippers to trim this down, I think. It's starting to block its lighting. But both of them have had moderate growth. Already did a leaf split and are on their second leaf split with me. This one already did a leaf split and then it got a huge leaf jump and then it dropped a pitcher. So I'm happy to see that. It looks like the pitcher in this one isn't too happy. The older pitcher, I mean. Raja Edwardsiana doing fine. Macrophilia. This is, sorry about that, I'm going to flip around here into a weird spot. The Macrophilia, as you can see, survived the cutting issue I was really worried about. Just to be clear, it looks like it's doing fine. Though on the downside, it looks like I'm going to have a leaf reduction, as you can see. Though it's already got a growth tip in the center, so I'm very hopeful it'll do fine. Diabolica, one of the more difficult ones to grow. This was my ideal plant, or dream plant I wanted to grow, specifically because I just love the look of the Diabolica. That was the one I chose to be my go-to plant. If I can grow that, I'm happy. And so far I am. I've got a AW4 female Diabolica here. She's had at least 3 to 4 growth tips here, and they've all been bigger than the last. No pictures yet, but it looks like I've got some embryo nodes on this one, so I'm hopeful. This is a Nepenthes Naga, seed grown. By the way, the Robocantla here is also seed grown, if I did not state that. The Naga has pretty moderate sized pitchers already for such a small little plant. They grow pretty quick, and they're a redder to black coloring. At least that I'm noticing. That's its most developed pitcher. It had a big pitcher jump from when I first got it, as you see. I got it with one of those small ones, and it got really big. So I'm hoping this one will develop a little bigger. But they look to have both red and blackish speckling. Now, if you look in here, which is the macrophilia, on its pictures, you'll notice a little red speckling as well. So I'm wondering if I'll get like an orange Naga coloring. You don't know with seed grown. It's interesting. So temperature-wise, in here, on this side anyway, is around 57 to upper 75s, even into the 80s. That's mainly because there's a jungle carpet python above, and he really likes heat. So do the birds. So these are all tropical birds, tropical animals in here, reptiles. So there's bearded dragon, a hognose, who's right there. He's fine. As you saw, the snakes there. They just kind of, I had to move my bearded dragon, which was up here, up there, and I swapped a bunch of the stuff in here to get this all organized and clean. Let's see. No issues so far. Plants are all doing fine, as you can see. I've got 2 new plants. The only ones I'm really looking for right now, maybe a pure Edwardsiana if I could get it. That is a pretty difficult plant to grow, so I would like to, if possible, get a Hamada Edwardsiana, which is kind of like a purple or an enhanced Hamada. It looks kind of like someone took an Edwardsiana and colored it the Hamada colors. So I think that's kind of neat. Yeah, bird likes it. Polo here actually gets very upset if I mess with the Lowland tank. Beyond that, no other real plant is popping in my head. I would like a pure Raja. I've said that plenty of times, but I am more than happy with my Peltata Raja currently, and I do have Raja Mira. I've got a lot of Raja crosses, so if I don't have a pure Raja, I won't be too upset, but I would like one. There was one on eBay, and then it kind of got shot up to $250, and it was only like that big. And I'm not going to pay something $250 that's going to die like my other ones did. And mind you, I paid those for like $90. I could probably get another one of those, but I just, right now I'm kind of fine with what I have, other than wanting that Edwardsiana cross Hamada, just because I like the shaping, coloring, and it would be a nice step up. I am perfectly happy with all my plants, so if I see a plant that's really cool or at a good discount, I do try to nab it. Hopeful, if any of these develop nodes, I'll try to do clone cuttings and maybe sell them. Like I said, if any of these plants develop and I'm just not too into them, I might sell them off too. Mainly the core plants that I want to keep are obviously in that little tray there, just because I think those are pretty. I think they're neat. I've just kind of look forward to them growing and seeing how they develop. This is kind of the fun of this hobby for me. If anybody has questions or needs a recommendation for a starting Nepenthes or how to do Nepenthes, I could probably do a video before Thanksgiving if it's requested. If not, I won't do one. I go over my setup pretty detailed. In here, all I have is this humidifier, and I find the humidity fog is better than just flat misting. Misting is better during the summer just to keep humidity up, because it got to 100 down here with me a couple of times, and that kept them in the low 80s and high 80s from getting too burnt or scorched. It did stress out the plants a bit, but I didn't have any fatalities that I can recall due to the heat itself. I did have fatalities of an original BE diabolica. I would never recommend anyone buy that plant. I would really recommend any of the AW, which is from Germany, because I'm growing one indoors, and it's under a humidity dome. I'm not doing anything special or unique that anybody can't do with this plant. I'm growing it like I would a Hamada, or even an indoor Nepenthes Lowland type. So keep that in mind. If someone is interested in the species I have, or if you find a plant here, then you are wondering what it is or whatnot, I can go into detail further in the December update video, which will be like the first week of December. Yeah, so plants are all fine, birds are fine, Polo is fine, so is Hummer. The birds are Bonnie, Clyde, and Iggy over here, and Sweet Pea, so little parakeet, and lovebirds. The snakes are fine, plants are fine. No real issues bringing them indoors. This room is a small glass room. The floor is actually tiled, so the floor actually is colder than the rest of the room. The floor could get into the 50s, thus everything is off the ground, obviously. The heater for this room is an oil type heater, which is usually more efficient and better at outputting heat, so keep that in mind. The problem when you heat up the air in here, it also dries the air. The humidifier is right there, and all this does is shoot air here. It hits there, and it just fogs down. So that's mainly how I'm both keeping the humidity and watering the plants for the majority. You can see some dewdrops here. That was because I'm filling the trays. So these are trays with water at the bottom. So these are seed growing trays. I believe that's what they're called when I bought them. And I have eggshell crates that I cut myself and stuck in there. You can get those at Home Depot or Lowe's. Some have asked about what mediums I use. Sphagnum moss. Specifically, I just went to Lowe's and bought $6 orchid one. So that's it. Wise Exotics out. If any questions, leave some comments. And that's it.